Okay, so what's going on here? This little 1U thing is a mult or a multiple. So I'm taking a copy of each of the outputs of my joystick, which I'm using these long stackable cables on. Putting them in here and then grabbing the copy just like I was by plugging into the cable itself. And this is terrible. So now I'm setting it up so that I can run more than just 2 parameters from the XY. Of course, I still have just the only 2. Okay, now the question is, what else should we try to modulate? So sticking with the green theme, let's get a couple more green cables. Something I always thought I might do would be to color coordinate this thing. As much as I try to do it, I soon lose track of it because I simply just need a cable of a certain size. This ought to be crazy. Oh, this is a dud. Okay, I get all my levels balanced out again. You can see I'm gonna have to edit some deadwood out of this one if I am able to find anything worth using here. Okay, that's not working out so much. Why don't I tell you something about myself? My name is actually Mark, and I'm a retired computer systems admin, a Unix system administrator, a hardware and storage person. I used to manage servers for a major Midwestern university. So this kind of complexity is not unknown to me. This isn't nearly as complex as the server rooms that I used to work in. Although it's just as crazy. At any rate, I have been doing Eurorack for over a decade, or about a decade now. And I got into it because I used to work with the guy who started noise engineering, Stephen McCall. He's a genius, and he used to do programming for us 20 years ago. Anyway, after I noticed noise engineering coming up and heard that he had started this, I got in touch with him, and he very generously gifted me some modules and things. I got a Yuzu's happy ending kit, and off to the races I went. And then my largest system that I had at one point was 15U, if you count the keyboard, maybe 12U plus this, by 126. I always stuck with 126. So I had 2 or 3 more rows. I had a version that was 1 or 2 higher, plus an angled panel on the front. I built all these cases myself. Then I took this, and getting ready for retirement and a lot of medical issues caused me to scale back, because a lot of the modules I had were very expensive and I could get the money out of them. So I sold off probably $5,000 to $6,000 worth of stuff and paid off bills to get ready for retirement. And this thing was pretty stripped down. And then I've gradually started plugging in certain things. I've spent money on things I care about, like this noise engineering wave folder, essentially. That, you know, I spent a little money on that. I spent some money on this 4MS looping delay. I used to have one of those before. I used to have just about one of everything. And quite a few of the modules that I really love are now knockoffs of mutable instruments stuff that Behringer's rolling out, like this Brains. Other people make them. The Rings module, the one that I'm getting all these Plux sounds with. It's modal synthesis. This is all digital. It's a DSP platform, and so is this. So each one of these in the Brains, or what used to be called Plats, is an algorithm. So it's a piece of software to produce different types of waveforms, including human speech, you name it. It has the modal stuff that you find in the Rings. Marbles is very similar to, in what Behringer calls chaos, very similar to what other modules out there that are referred to as Turing machines. And when basically they're more elaborate sample and hold. I don't have dedicated sample and hold, and it's a unmistakable sound. You'll know it when you hear it. You go, oh, I've heard that before. And usually with ordinary sample and hold, you've just got a stream of stuff going through, and you're clocking the module and saying, okay, when this clock goes off, give me whatever you got. And that's kind of what's going on with the Turing machine, except you can set the lengths, how many steps in the scale. You can go from smooth to stepped or gradiated. You can leave it in octaves. There's lots of things you can do. You set biases that are like coin flipping probabilities. On the original marbles, this was called deja vu, and this deja vu circuit, which leads to this Y. These things are tied together. And so really you've got like 3 different probability engines in here. You've got 3 T or trigger outputs. You've got 3 X outputs, which you can just think of as CV, that can be quantized and used as note information. And so the past several, however many videos that I've been running, I've been basically talking about these new Behringer modules, and I wanted to explain. There's a lot of people on the internet right now that have great in-depth tutorials. There's DivKid, there's Loopop, there's a bunch of people. I have several links on my page if you're interested. If you want to find years and years of deep dives into lots of modules. Somebody commented that they would like to see a deep dive on what was going on here, and I think I've almost got this understood enough to understand what it is that I'm doing here. So by tying this joystick in to these control voltage inputs, I've got control voltage. It's being generated by this joystick, coming into a multipole and being sent out wherever I want it. And what it's doing essentially is turning these knobs, programmatically turning the knobs. That's what control voltage is all about. And the question I haven't been able to answer yet about this is what's causing the triggering. And I guess it's just the rapid clock beat, so that whatever changes I make immediately get triggered, making it sound sequential. So anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit here in this one about what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm not trying to build a huge platform. I'm not trying to make money. I'm a retired person who's been doing this for a long, long time. And I'm kind of a shut-in. And being on YouTube doesn't bother me. I don't mind cameras, and I've always got plenty to say. But my weak point is doing the homework. So I'm going to make a disclaimer right now, and that whatever you hear from me is only what I think I've sussed out of what I've been doing and what I've learned from the manuals and such. There's so many possibilities. It's the ultimate multivariate problem. It's essentially like running lab equipment. And it's very easy to get seduced into a certain thing like I've done here recently with this one. But I'm going to make myself, after this video, I believe, pull all this and sit down with you guys and start from scratch with clocks, clock divisions, really cool stuff. The fellow I mentioned, Steven, who got me into this mess, he designed this. This is one of his prototype modules, which does the Riemann transforms of Euler mathematics that computes the intervals in triads. It's amazing. We'll get into that someday. And once again, we'll reprogram this subtracted voice. I'm thinking about changing out some filters. I've got other modules that I just can't fit in here right now. And then just go back to basically building up a patch from scratch, talking while I'm doing it, trying to record the bits that are good, and moving on to the next thing, and just keeping at it and seeing if I can get anybody interested. And I'll be back when I've got something more interesting than just me babbling along. Good night, all.